Hello, this is Paul Chek. Welcome back to my video blogs. Today I'd like to talk to you about something that really needs to be heard over and over again. It's the wisdom of exercise consistency. As I suspect many of you are aware, I have rehabilitated countless badass athletes and exercise junkies and hardcore this and hardcore that. And I've seen many people go through health crisis, get diseases, and everything you can imagine, all while being very consistent with their exercise. But one of the common denominators that I see quite regularly is athletes that push themselves way too hard, or even everyday people that are athletes, not just competitive athletes. This has a lot to do with our psychic development and our beliefs about ourself and where we get our sense of self-value, self-worth, and self-esteem from. Has to do with our peer groups. It has to do with the hierarchy of social rank in our peer groups as well. Who's the badass? Who are you emulating? What are you trying to accomplish? And those types of factors and issues of hierarchy turn out to pop up over and over again in research on cancer and other diseases. I'd like to share one of the ways that I've been able to rehabilitate myself through these same types of issues in the past. Fortunately, I'm a fairly quick learner with some of these things, so it hasn't been so bad, but I have seen a number of people go through these problems. What I'd like to share today are some simple principles and some deep wisdom. If you haven't studied Arnold Patton's Universal Principles, they're very good. In one of them, he makes the statement, anything done out of a sense of need or obligation is inappropriate. Anything done out of a sense of peace and love is appropriate. And he states that it's best to lie down on the ground and wait till the urge to do something out of need or obligation passes, and only do it when you can do it genuinely out of love for yourself and because you really want to. So sometimes when you're going to the gym or you're going to work with a coach, you may have this rigidly constructed exercise program, and people follow exercise programs just like they follow diets, and they have the same damn problems with exercise programs that they do with diets, and that is that they follow what's written on a blackboard, a pen board, or a piece of paper with some kind of religious fervor, but don't pay attention to their bodies, just like they do with diets, and look at the results of all that silliness. So if it's your time to go to the gym and you're in the gym and you walk in and you're tired, instead of drinking more coffee, Red Bull, Monster, any of that kind of stuff, you can simply lay on the ground and relax and decompress your body a bit and just give yourself permission to know that if you push yourself when your body's already tired or under stress, be it physical, emotional, or mental, you're probably going to push yourself into an injury and just magnify the stress against yourself. And then you're also probably going to run the risk of not being able to exercise ideally. And countless are the number of people I've seen yo-yo between getting super fit, overdoing it, getting injured, then getting overweight and out of shape while they're recovering from the pain and the injury, only to go back to the gym, work their way back into shape, burn themselves out again, get injured. And I've seen this go on and on and on. And I used to travel around the world, make it around the world about twice a year, going to many different countries, and I see the same people going through the same stuff over and over again. So if we just lay on the ground and just check in with ourselves and say, look, the gym is a medicine chest. It's a place that has all sorts of apparatus. There's all sorts of ways to engage yourself and to connect with yourself, most of which are not written on your program. So one of the things that I do when I feel like that is I just survey everything, all the toys that I have, and I say, well, what would feel good? Well, maybe right now I don't really feel like working that hard. As I've shown in a past recent video blog, if you're emotionally bottled up, then start with something simple like a foam roller and just spend some time feeling yourself and work through your chest and your abs and release those emotional centers and see how you feel. Roll around with it, play with it. Get on a Swiss ball, play with that. Stretch out your pec minor. Get over the ball. Again, stretch your abdominals out and breathe into your belly. And as you let your air out, just let your body be heavy. Let your mind relax. Stretch your lats out and just feel your body. Let vertebra adjust. Take your time and just be with yourself. Let go of any preconceived ideas or anything that you have to do. Have-tos are stressful. And so are woulda, shoulda, coulda, didn't, can't. But if you work with your body in a relationship, then you develop a relationship with your body. And that's really what love is all about. Most people have a tendency to relate to their body in the very ways that they did not like when their parents related to them. So if your dad was a drill sergeant, go, 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 do, 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 then people have that drill sergeant attitude. If your mother was emotional, needy, then people tend to be emotional and needy about how they engage exercise. But using the gym intelligently is part of maturing and getting past your mommy and daddy programming and getting clear on who you really are and what you really need and living for yourself and loving yourself so that you can be consistent for the long run. So you might think, well, today I'm supposed to deadlift, but man, sometimes you go pick up the bar and just at warm-up weight, it feels, your body's sore and you're tired. It could be lack of sleep. It could be a lot of mental activity from work or from school examinations. It could be a myriad of things. So try picking up something different. Here's a device with sand in it that you can get from Fitter. And Penny will put Fitter's web address. It's just got sand, so you can do rhythmic stabilization exercises with it. You can just move it around. It's very easy to work with. But sometimes it's just a matter of spending some time feeling what feels good to me right now. Have no plan. And just start stimulating the body, waking it up. And it starts to turn on. Maybe you want to swing something. So grab a club bell or a Bulgarian bag and just swing it and see. Don't have any need to perform hard or fast or set the world on fire. Just see what feels good. If you want to learn more about the Bulgarian bag, check into Mike Salemi's work. He's the master of the Bulgarian bag and many other things. One of the techniques I use is just breathing into my exercises. I've talked in the past about how I approach the green, yellow, red zones and showed you how to look into things like the questionnaires in my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, to determine how stressed you are. So you can just do something simple. Take a light kettlebell and just breathe with the movement. So inhale, exhale. Pause at the top, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Make sure as you're breathing, you're filling your diaphragm. huge percent. I would say 99.9% of the athletes, from the best athletes in the world to your amateur and everyday kind of just plotter weekend warrior athletes, have got dysfunctional breathing patterns. And all this rock hard abs and insecurities and showing off and, kind of half bodybuilder consciousness, which isn't really bodybuilding at all. If you study the history of bodybuilding and look into Eugene Sandow, you'll find out what it really was meant to be, which is to build healthy, beautiful bodies. And it's turned itself into some kind of, gym-based disease, unfortunately. So just play and just give yourself 30 to 60 reps with a lightweight and just breathe and relax. You can take it around and just play. And just as your body wakes up, just start feeling what feels good to you. It might take 20 minutes and all of a sudden, wow, you feel energized. Then you look at your program and think, yeah, well, I think that sounds good. So you go do your first exercise. And if your program is designed like a skilled Chek professional would, it'll be organized from the most important exercise based on what your objective is to the relatively least important exercise. So if your exercise program is designed right and you don't feel like doing the whole program, do the one or two exercises that are the most important if you can do them well enough to improve on your last performance by 1 to 3%, which is the Charlie Francis rule. Otherwise, you're probably not doing anything good for yourself, and just that type of exercise we just talked about is enough to keep you in the game, maintain the habit, maintain the ritual, and be more spiritually mature about the use of exercise. And this is where we have to remember the old saying that the turtle outruns the hare, because the turtle is consistent. The hare is, sidetracking and checking everything out and getting lost. Go do a warm-up again and just breathe into it. Closing your eyes brings you inside of yourself. About 80% of the energy that you're using at any given time is devoted to your eyes. Your eyes are very, very energy consumptive, and you tend to focus on things outside of yourself. But most of us have done these exercises enough that, unless you're in a dangerous environment where you have to, keep your eyes open, but an exercise like this, you can close your eyes and really check in with yourself. That's a bit of a pun. Pay attention to your weight shift. Remember the rule when you're doing exercise, always start from the biggest muscles first, so the biggest to littlest. So when you're doing an exercise like that, use these periods when you're feeling a little low energy to focus on technique. So legs initiate the movement. Trunk follows the legs, then the arm. Get your weight shift. Keep your posture good. These are just basic tips, but people get caught up in competing with the Joneses and torturing themselves, and as I said, living out the very dictates that their parents imposed upon them against themselves, all the while when they're in therapy with people like me or psychotherapists, they will complain about how terrible their childhood was or this or that, but they don't realize that they're parenting themselves exactly the way they are rebelling against in their own parents. The gym is a spiritual place. We're not just growing muscles here. This is where you learn to improvise and adapt. This is where you learn to take responsibility for yourself. And if you don't, you get hurt. And you also set a bad example for everybody else that is watching. This is a beautiful environment where we can really connect deeply into ourselves, learn about ourselves and other people, and grow. So hopefully you can change your perspective and know that there's a reason the turtle outruns the hare, and that exercise should be seen as a lifetime form of medicine, not just something you do to look cool or show your buddies how strong you are or impress the girls with your rock hard abs even though you can't breathe and think clearly. And really get into a deeper relationship with yourself so that exercise becomes something that you look forward to, just like you look forward to going to bed at night and having a deep sleep, or look forward to a beautiful meal, or your meditation practice, or your work. And hopefully you love your work and look forward to it like I do. Thanks for joining me today. Simple but profound practices that can make the difference in your life. I know they make a difference. I'm 57 years old. I've been at this a long time. I started lifting weights regularly when I was 12, and before that I was lifting heavy stuff every day, all day on a farm. I've hurt myself in the gym enough times to know that when I look back, it was me that was the reason I got hurt every time. And it is exactly the kinds of things I'm talking about that I had to learn. And I would much rather you learn now than have to find yourself limiting your athletic ability or career due to an injury, which can easily happen, or developing a negative relationship with exercise because you don't know you're projecting your mommy daddy programming onto yourself, others, and exercise itself. So have fun in the gym. I look forward to sharing more with you soon. I'm Paul Chek.